everyone, and welcome to the Propcast. My name is Louisa Dickens, co-founder of LMR Re and board director of the UKPA, and I shall be your weekly host. Each week for 30 minutes, we'll be connecting the VCs, PropTech startups, and real estate professionals globally, and assist in bridging that famous communication gap we all love talking about. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Propcast. Today, we'll be discussing EMEA PropTech, which is Europe, the Middle East, and Africa. And today, we are fortunate enough to be speaking with Mehdi Varas, founder of Middle East PropTech and Eurasia PropTech, and Helen Chen, CEO of Nomad Homes. So welcome both to the show today.
Thank you. Great to be on the show.
Thank you. Likewise.
Now, let me give you a brief introduction to our guest. So Mehdi is the founder of Middle East PropTech Initiative, which is based in Dubai, and also Eurasia PropTech Initiative, which is based in Istanbul. These initiatives' mission is to create the ecosystem, foster innovation, share knowledge among all stakeholders in the region. Quite similar to various associations sort of globally, but obviously we're trying to sort of pick up the amount of PropTechs who are part of it and just increase the knowledge, really. Mehdi Varas is one of the thought leaders and influencers of PropTech globally, and you might have seen him featured recently on Unity's PropTech Connect, but predominantly he is focused on EMEA. Now, he is a prominent entrepreneur in technology businesses, involved in numerous ventures as a founder, advisor, and NED. In fact, he is joining us from one of the business's offices today. Besides thinking, writing, and advising on PropTech, innovation, and transformation, he's basically just been a massive advocate for the space, and he's been a huge asset to LMR Re in guiding us in our launch to EMEA. So those who are listening and thinking about the potential launch, hopefully this podcast will be helpful, and I'm sure he'll be happy to follow up separately after the podcast. Now, Helen, who I was introduced to through Mehdi recently, is the CEO and co-founder of Nomad Homes. Nomad is a digital platform helping buyers and renters to confidently find their best home, and she founded it in 2019. Now, prior to all of this, Helen was an investor and worked at Goldman Sachs, China Investment Corporation, and Blackstone Private Equity. Was also selected for Forbes 30 Under 30, which I'm sure lots of listeners know about. While pursuing her MBA at Stanford, the heart of Silicon Valley, Helen developed a passion for PropTech, and against all odds, Helen left her MBA to start Nomad, which is obviously a massive risk, and I absolutely love it. And it's obviously gone extremely well. So I'm looking forward to hearing about that journey in a moment. Now, Helen is a strong believer in supporting women, both in tech and in the boardroom. Helen is a champion for hiring female talent at Nomad, encouraging a balanced workforce, which we can chat through a bit later when we touch upon diversity. But look, a massive warm welcome to both of you. And I would love to get started with the first question, which is, how you both got into PropTech. And Helen, why don't you go first? You've gone from banking to founder, leaving your MBA, San Francisco to Dubai. Talk us through it.
Thanks, Louisa. So I think for me, I am an investor by training, but my true passion has always been in real estate. As a kid growing up, my parents had rental properties, and my job over the summer was to fix them up and get them ready for tenants. For me, that followed me throughout my career. I studied real estate in undergrad. I worked at Goldman in their real estate banking group. My first investment was in real estate rental property. And to this day, I love looking at houses. Anywhere I go, whether it's domestically in the US, internationally, around the world, I love to look at the houses. I go on open houses all the time. And for me, it's really a true passion. And I think it really stems from the fact that finding your best home is exactly what Nomad is doing, and also the most important personal and financial decision of your life. So I think it really resonates with a lot of people.
Yeah, no, definitely. And also great to be involved in something which you're passionate about and obviously relate to. Mehdi, what about you? So you've obviously not only get involved in sort of startups, NED, advise various sort of businesses, being a founder yourself. Talk us through how you got into this space and also founded the initiatives.
Yeah, I discovered my entrepreneur side in late 90s when I actually was working for Coca-Cola, and that's the only conventional company that I worked for a year, and then I moved to the whole entrepreneur adventure. First started fintech early 2000, and then one information startup which was bought by Euromoney later on. And at that time, we have started a PropTech company, even though there was no buzzword like PropTech. Back in 2007, 6, there was a data analytics company in real estate, specifically for the emerging markets. And then moved to a marketplace business, pretty much like, Zoopla or Zillow in 2014. And then 2018, I left the day-to-day operations and then moved to advisory role. And that was the year that I started the Eurasia PropTech initiative in Istanbul. And then right before the pandemic, I founded Middle East PropTech initiative down in Dubai. And then the pandemic came in, and then here we are.
Now, talk to me about so there's various associations globally. Your ones are focused, one on the Dubai ecosystem community and one on Istanbul. Tell us about what are the values, what are the missions, who are your partners? And then Helen, I'd love to hear a bit more about how you heard about it and got involved and where you see the value as well for your for Nomad.
Well, in fact, I guess it was back in 2018 when I founded the Eurasia PropTech initiative. There were about 11 or 12 globally, what I call hubs. And today, I guess it's more than 75 or so. So pretty much, I guess the UK one, Australia and US are formed as an association, as far as I know. But pretty much all of them, do a similar mission, create the ecosystem, and foster the innovation on the, build the environment. And first thing they usually do is to release a PropTech map specifically for that region. And that's exactly what we did. It took some time for us. We launched 4 versions for Istanbul, recently launched one for Dubai, for UAE. Just to give you a comparison, Dubai one has about 48 startups, and I specifically include the ones that were founded in UAE, not that founded somewhere else and then have a liaison office in UAE. So if you look at from that perspective, it's kind of small. However, the market is big. There's only one side of the coin is the startups, but then the rest is the incumbents and the market potential. The MENA region in general is quite, booming. We talk a lot about Latin America, how hard it is. I believe we will be talking, much about the Middle East region. There's, I guess 450 million people living there, and they all discovered that, innovation is the way to go. They are trying to move away from the oil economy. So lots of things going on.
Yeah, sounds it, and I'm sure more to come. Now, Helen, you've so your Nomad is obviously started in SF, and you grew to Paris, which I think you're currently doing this podcast from, and obviously you have expanded to Dubai. How did you and Mete come about? Why did you want to join the Middle East PropTech initiative? How is it beneficial? Because so many startups are all looking for associations so they can join, share ideas, do all of the above. How has it benefited you personally?
That's a great question. So Mete and I actually met on LinkedIn. I was kind of curious about what he was up to. And, we are one of the companies that is mentioned in his PropTech map. So Nomad is one of the startups that is tackling this problem of buying, renting, and selling. And so that's actually how Mete and I came about. The benefit of being in these relationships with other startups is that, one, as a startup, you have to continuously evolve and continuously learn. So if there is an initiative that can help us do that more quickly and help Nomad grow more quickly, then we are 100% supportive. And the second piece is starting a company is really hard. So for us at Nomad, something that we are always really cognizant about and we make an effort to do so is really support the ecosystem. Support other founders, support other startups that are going through the same growing pains as us, because sometimes it's a lonely journey and you want some friends around you.
Yeah, I can echo all of that, especially as I've sort of done a similar thing, even though we're a recruitment firm and don't have a tech platform. going to other countries, cultures, just a whole different ecosystem. It's any sort of support and friends and you can have that. It's so important. Now, okay, so let's talk about the market. So why did you choose to go to Dubai? So the usual hotspots for growth of companies are, the big cities. You started in San Fran. There's New York, there's London, there's Berlin, Paris. You've obviously launched in. Why Dubai for you? And then Mette, maybe you can tell us about, a bit more. What is the government doing to attract startups to go there? Like, if I'm a founder, why would I do that?
Yeah, so for us, our target markets are across Europe and the Middle East. Europe and the Middle East, collectively EMEA, it's a huge residential real estate market. Over $1.5 trillion of residential real estate are purchased and sold every single year. So that is just a massive market. And two, when we were doing our research while I was at Stanford for Nomad, we were talking to the customers and it's still an incredibly painful process that is mostly offline. And so if you're going to build a company, my personal opinion is one, you should pick a market and a region that is large. And two, where the customers are really asking for a better solution to what they're in today. And so that's how we decided to focus our efforts across Europe and the Middle East.
Mette, so just for general startups, why would they launch in the Middle East? You mentioned, this different legislation. To me, it was all new. We're looking to launch out there. And now it seems a lot more attractive and actually easier to launch in some countries like France.
First of all, specifically, I guess we should talk about Dubai, which discovered the innovation economy or knowledge economy much earlier than the rest of the region, is, visionary. Some they even call it, futuristic city. They also get the advantage of, city, state, advantages. And there are lots of, programs. It's really investment friendly. I'm sure Helen even mentioned more than I do. However, the programs, they're specifically quite aggressive. They're open to any kind of, talent, and they just don't want to do that for a short term. They actually want to do that in, longer periods. And specifically with the pandemic, lots of countries from, LATAM to Europe promoting special programs for digital nomads. Dubai is also one of them. However, they are more into, innovation. And this year specifically, there is going to be Expo 2020. And I just had a long conversation with the manager who is handling what is called District 2020. That is an area where they are going to, use that infrastructure after Expo. And they are going to dedicate the whole area, which is, I guess, more than 150 soccer fields, big. It's going to be a, development area. And the whole focus is going to be, again, innovation, specifically for the global talents and companies. And they are planning to do, very intensive programs, which we will be, promoting as well.
Awesome. Almost like whole new innovation hubs. That's great to hear.
Position yourself to thrive with a 5-week course that covers the essentials of designing, developing, marketing and operating offices in 2021 and beyond. Check out the Future-Proof Office course at realinnovationacademy.com. Quote LMRE for a 10% discount.
Are there any areas of growth in like certain verticals of PropTech which you're seeing in EMEA? Is it residential? Is it commercial? What is it?
Well, as Helen mentioned, when on emerging markets, especially in the MENA region, when you talk about real estate, they usually understand residential other than, commercial mainly. That doesn't mean that, commercial real estate is, still at the very early stage. There is a big commercial market as well. So some areas obviously quite connected. I would say mobility is one area or vertical. The other one will be logistics, smart logistics. Lots of companies doing that. Like any other, PropTech market, there are, more than one player on the tenant app vertical. finance is another area which I think will, have a big potential. I would say, Cloud Kitchen is, quite aggressive. There are a lot of companies, and then even before the pandemic, and then the pandemic, helped that a lot. That's how I see it.
Yeah. And I guess talking of growth areas launching as well, Helen, what's your experience being a female founder? Obviously, especially launching Dubai, which is notoriously difficult as well. I guess women in the workplace as well. Tell us about it.
So for me, I'm actually accustomed to being the only woman in the room, starting in finance, on Wall Street, in private equity, banking, and then moving into real estate and then technology. I suppose I am a martyr almost, in that I'm always representing the women at the table. So for me, I'm actually accustomed to it. And I always view myself as a founder and a CEO first, and a woman founder CEO second. I think that's the mentality you have to take, because first and foremost, I have a fiduciary duty to our business and to Nomad Homes. The second piece is, I think that is a common perception about doing business in Dubai, but I will say that the city and the country is incredibly progressive, and that I have been welcomed by open arms into the ecosystem, both on the real estate side as well as the tech side. So I'm grateful for that.
And how do you go about, I guess, hiring female talent, ensuring that you've got a balanced team yourself as well?
Absolutely. When you do have the luxury and the position of, pushing change in the workforce, I think you do need to take advantage of that and support that. So for us, we do have a rule where whenever Nomad is looking to hire, we always interview one woman and one man for each position. And, after that, the decision to hire is really based on merit, because when you're building a business, we need to make sure that Nomad has the best talent possible, 100%. So what we do is we actually regulate the interviewing process to make sure that that piece is fair, and then let merit decide who joins the Nomad team.
That sounds like quite a good setup and structure. It's something which a lot of businesses struggle with. I think obviously the larger businesses especially, but startups are definitely trying to create more sort of diverse, balanced shortlists from the get-go. And once you have that, I guess, more balanced, inclusive setup, it makes your business so much more attractive to people coming as you sort of grow. I've got a question for Mete now. Are there any, obviously Nomad is a success story. Are there any other success stories coming out of EMEA? You said there was 42 actually founded startups in there. What are there any other ones you want to talk us through?
Well, there is an example of Careem, which was exited to Uber. I guess if I'm not mistaken, it's over $1 billion US dollar. And then there is Property Finder. It's a real estate marketplace portal. They also created a niche and became a market leader. It's a vertical marketplace. There used to be one horizontal marketplace, but they came in and then became a category leader. There is also another company that I like, Tendered. It's a marketplace for construction equipment. There is obviously Nomad for a new generation of residential brokerage firm. Mm-hmm. And what else?
You've listed quite a few. There's especially for out of 42. There must be, the way I see it, obviously one of the prime growth industries and part if we're looking at by the economy is real estate. So for property technology companies, there must be so much opportunity. It's just working out how to sort of break through into it. And those who are listening today, if you want to get that understanding for the PropTech Mat, the community, the developers, the corporate, everything like that, definitely speak to Mete, because he can chat you through it and, just go on the website, which obviously we'll be sharing after the show. I'm a bit conscious of time, and I really want to run through the final part of the podcast, which is the LMRE part. 1, L, lessons learned. Mention anyone, give someone a shout out. It could be product or service. R, any regrets in your career, but turn it into positive. And then E, what you are most excited about to do with the future of PropTech. So, Helen, why don't you go first? Is there any, name one lesson you've learned in your career?
My main lesson is do what you love, because nobody on this podcast or listening to this podcast is in the business of being mediocre. And I believe that you need to love what you do in order to be great at it.
I like that. I like that a lot, Helen. Thank you. And Mete, any lessons you've learned?
Oh, I'm kind of old, so I have a lot of lessons to learn still. I guess it's, Warren Buffett that, it's good to learn from your mistakes, but it's much better to learn from others. So I'm always open to learn new stuff, and I always, open to share what I learn, especially with the youngsters. So, knowledge sharing is key.
Mm. Okay, now for both of you, Helen, go first. Anyone you want to give a shout out to, or a certain product or service out there?
Absolutely. So I will give a shout out to the entire Nomad Homes team across Paris and Dubai, and a huge shout out to our VC investors who believed in us from day one: Comcast Ventures, Partech, Abstract, WonderCo Precursor, Class 5 Global, for believing in us and our mission.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Helen. And Mete, I'm sure you've got a fair few people you could shout out as well, but choose one or two.
I like to mention the whole PropTech community because, I learn a lot of stuff and really keeps me excited. And there's one company, it's not from, PropTech, but I like what they do. It's Climeworks. You can actually, take a look at it. So on different level, they create packages. So they usually, capture COT. And from, depending on your, preference or budgets, you can contribute to the, sustainability issue.
Thank you. And any regrets in your career, Helen?
I guess my one regret would be not starting Nomad Homes earlier. But in general, I think we should always be looking forward and trying to improve yourself as opposed to focusing on your regrets.
Yeah, agreed. Mete, any regrets in your career?
No, likewise.
Not starting the PropTech map sooner.
No, I don't have any regrets. Sometimes think, obviously I've been in emerging markets for a long time. I sometimes think that, I should, it's kind of tiring sometimes, you have to follow the rest of the world and then come back to the reality. Sometimes there are gaps, but, there's no regret.
Yeah, it's a permanent game of catch up. Okay, last question. What are you both most excited about in the future of PropTech? Helen, go for it.
The most exciting piece about PropTech is one, how big the market is. And I think the convergence of PropTech and FinTech, because buying and renting is ultimately a financial decision. And so what I believe we'll see is that, eventually these two sectors will converge into one.
And Mete, what about you? Would you echo that, or have you got something else you're excited about?
Yeah, that is true. So, we always say that FinTech and PropTech are twins. I specifically like the future of metaverse or 3D printing, and specifically image recognition or AI in general. There will be fascinating use cases in the coming years, I believe.
Yeah, there'll be massive developments there, especially. Right, guys. We're unfortunately coming to the end of the podcast, sadly. But please let the audience know the best way to connect with you. Helen, please go first.
Great. So you can find us at nomadhomes.co, or you can find me on LinkedIn. I think you'll be able to find me pretty quickly there.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. And Mete, tell the audience how they can find out about your initiatives and obviously connect with you.
Yeah, they can actually always, connect me on LinkedIn, Mete Veras, or they can, just type in meproptech.com or proptecheurasia.com.
Awesome. Look, thank you both for joining me on the Propcast today. I'm from Dubai and from Paris, and I'm right now on a mini island off the coast of England. So I'm looking forward to catching up with you both after the show, and I hope you have a great day.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us this week on the Propcast, and a big thanks to our special guests. Make sure you visit our website, www.nmre.co.uk, where you can subscribe to our show, or you'll find us on iTunes and Spotify, where all good content is found. Whilst you're at it, if you found value in the show, we'd appreciate if you could rate and review us on iTunes, or if you simply just spread the word, and I'll catch you later.
Hi, this is Nelson from Property Quants. I'd like to invite you to join our Introduction to Data Science and Machine Learning for Real Estate seminar. To learn more, visit propertyquants.com/seminar and use special code LMRE20 on Eventbrite for a discount.
You're listening to a Podcast Company podcast. This was made by Podcast Syndicator, where we help you go from start to grow to making money with your podcast. Let us help you share your message and your voice with the world. Reach out now, Jason at podcastsyndicator.com or Brett at podcastsyndicator.com to find out more. Thank you for listening, and do come back to hear nothing but the best podcasts.